With global power dynamics shifting and the US commitment to multilateralism in question, what should a resilient ASEAN look like? Professor Danny Quah from the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy at the National University of Singapore says it's time for the region to rebuild a rules-based order with or without America.
If the system is being disrupted because the United States feels that it needs to withdraw from the multilateral rules-based order, the rest of the world, including ASEAN, will have to try and recreate that. I think there's a way to think about it in terms of something called pathfinder multilateralism. So what ASEAN, Malaysia needs to do is to think about how it can recreate a rules-based order for which there is a level playing field that allows international trade to occur, for which there is a commitment to peaceful dispute resolution. It is possible to do that even without the United States. That's the kind of model that I think Malaysia and ASEAN needs to go towards. We need to be forensic in our thinking on this. When we say that America has disrupted the system, what we might be thinking is that it's trying to undermine the system for everyone else, or is simply withdrawing. My view is the second is correct. It is simply withdrawing. We must not be confused into thinking that it's trying to disturb the rest of us. We need to proceed as if it's not here. And there's actually evidence that it's quite happy with that. When America withdrew from TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, that system was left in tatters, but Japan and other nation states continued with it and built something called CPTPP. And America said absolutely nothing about it. So we should feel confident that we can rebuild a rules-based multilateral order without the United States in our region.
As geopolitical tensions grow, diversifying supply chains may bring long-term benefits, but only if it is done for the right reasons.
The fact that all the rest of us have been shocked into thinking about a China plus one strategy could be a good thing. We have become too complacent. We have to remember that the entire supply chain, the system of international trade, is meant to bring about good things for us. The things that we need now most are control over runaway cost of living. We cannot get by. People will be thrown back into poverty if the cost of living rises too high. A second reason we should be thinking about rewiring the supply chain or China plus one strategy is if by doing that, we have access to better technology. The old way of doing things was a way that burned hydrocarbons, and that was frying our planet to a crisp through environmental change. If the America shock to the system makes us think about a China plus one strategy that helps us reduce cost of living and helps us improve our technology, then we should welcome it. And there's actually good reason to think that we should be doing this. The bottom 50% of China's population has seen its incomes increase 600% in the last 2 decades. Costs of operating in China are rising. We should be thinking about diversifying to other parts of the world where cost of living, wages are still under control. Having said that, there's actually also a bad reason for trying to go to China plus one. And that is if we think that by doing China plus one, we can console and appease the United States in its geopolitical conflict with China. I think that's a bad reason for doing China plus one. We are simply doing chain washing. We're trying to take products from China that America does not want to be sold in the world, and we're rebranding it. That's a terrible way to do business. And if we try and do chain washing through China plus one, not only is it a bad thing, it makes things more expensive, it's bound to fail. America will find this out quickly enough. But the more important point here is that if America has a problem with trade with China, that problem with trade is not China's alone. America is aggrieved at the entire international trading system. Liberation Day tariffs were not directed at just China. They were directed at everyone, including America's friends, Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, Singapore, Malaysia. So America has challenges dealing with international trade, and we should not be thinking about a China plus one strategy as simply a cheap way to do chain washing that helps appease the United States.